I gotta put a little intro thing in here for the YouTube people. If you're watching this on YouTube, hello from May the 7th when I recorded this. I just wanna let you know that Lawrence fight, that took like 3 streams. That took like 3 streams of just straight fighting Lawrence. So while for you, it's just another episode in this series of a Bloodborne playthrough where a guy plays through Bloodborne with the Holy Moonlight sword and doesn't level up except enough to use said sword. You know, to you, you're like, oh yeah, he beat Lawrence. But to the people and myself, to the people watching on Twitch and to myself having played it, I would just like to point out that that was like a 30-minute encounter. That took a 30-minute. That was a 3-day encounter. That took a long-ass time. That took a long-ass time. We're on the Orphan of Kos now, and I've given myself the claw mark runes so that I can get some decent riposte damage on him here. I'm dead. I'm dead. Eat only natural whole grain bread. I'm not sure I'm in love with the claw mark runes. I'm in love with the beast blood pellets, that's for sure. But I can use the claw mark to parry, take a riposte, and then I'm safe because he has to recover. He has to get up off the ground, you know? So they might as well do as much damage as they can. They're not going to do much damage because we didn't level up skill, obviously. But man, I could be having some extra stamina, or I could be having some extra rally, or I could be having some extra in defense. The charged R2s are the bread and the butter. And they build up that beast blood meter. Ooh. They make the ripostes a little more viable. I'm gonna stay in his face to try and... Ow. I'm gonna stay in his face. Shit. It didn't work. Okay, nothing worked. That was a bunch of not working. I'm gonna go ahead out and head out in the water so that I don't get fish thunder. Here comes that fish thunder he loves so much. Look at that. Oh Lord. Oh, it's all the fish thunder. It's a, oh Lord have mercy, 3 fish thunder. 3 fish thunder. It won't stop, it'll never stop, fish thunder. Here he comes out into the water to fight. He's coming, he's flying up in the air. I can't hit, oh, it's okay. It's not okay, I'm alive. Oh shit. Oh Lord have mercy. What can we do? What can be done? We have to find a way. Oh! Oh! Something... It's... Oh! There's damage. We're doing damage. Uh-oh. Oh! He threw it! He threw it! He threw it all the way over there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, what a guy. Alright. There was nothing for me to just, like, heat up real quick, so I had a banana with some peanut butter, and I made myself a cup of coffee. That'll do it. Real talk, I don't feel like cooking tonight, so I think tonight's gonna be a order a pizza or a drive-through window type of night. We'll see what happens. It all depends on you, Orphan. How do you want to play it, huh? You want to sit here and take all night? Get it right? Me and you on a Friday night? Duking it out in a fist bro fight? Uh-oh. Ow! Alright, hey, you knocked me down. Don't you do it. You don't want to... No. I think that could have been a backstab, but I just didn't get it. Bitch. Bitch. I said bitch. When you just want to get on your knees and beg and say, oh, no, don't kill me. Don't kill me. And then I do it anyway. And then I do it anyway. Kill you. 'Cause you living like a bitch. 'Cause you been bitch living, and that's the way you stay. I'm gonna walk all over your dead mother. I'm just gonna stomp and tromp and clomp. Huh? Can't stop me, can you? Can't stop me. Sitting on your mama's face. Huh? Ah, just shit in her mouth. Ah. We've received the Kos parasite. It's got an A scaling and arcane right off the rip. When the carcass of Kos washed up on the coast, its insides were teeming with tiny parasites, unlike any found in humans. This atypical weapon can only be clasped tight and swung, but a Kos parasite is said to stimulate phantasms inhabiting Illuminwood. So if you got a Kos parasite, which you can only get from inside the body of Kos, but if you've got one of those Kos parasites, then you can turn into a broccoli man. You can turn right into one. And that's the Orphan of Kos. That's the Orphan of Kos. So we've defeated the Orphan. And you might have recognized the little cry during the cutscene when the orphan gets born, and the orphan is all like, and that's Gehrman. That's Gehrman's cry. They share the same cry. Now, does that mean that the orphan is Gehrman, or that Gehrman had sex with the corpse of a dead god washed up on the beach? No. I think it just tells us that Gehrman was the one who was responsible for the death of the orphan. Not necessarily responsible for the death of Kos, but for the death of the orphan. And it's a heavy, weird guilt that laid on him and Lady Maria. Lady Maria seemingly took her own life, and you can imagine how that would compound the guilt on old Gehrman. However...
Oh, good hunter. I can hear Gehrman sleeping. On any other night, he'd be restless. But on this night, he sounds so very calm. Perhaps something has eased his suffering.
Oh, sorry. She said perhaps something has eased his suffering.
Good hunter, farewell, may you...
So, yeah. When we kill Maria, the doll tells us, she feels like she's been lifted out of, she had great shackles on her, and they're gone now. And then when we kill the orphan, it allows Gehrman to get, like, a good night's sleep. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. It also really makes you think about, like, one of the things that's different about Bloodborne compared to Dark Souls. Dark Souls is definitely a game where the majority of the stuff that has happened, we don't encounter those people, or if we do encounter them, they've just completely lost their minds, and like they've been undead for so long that, like Gwen and the witch, and like none of them offer any sort of like exposition on what's going on or what had happened. But Gehrman and the doll sort of a Maria stand-in. Oh man. So I know a lot of people think that like Gehrman was like in love with Maria, but how great is it? Like story-wise, symmetrically, like it's symmetrical. If he wasn't in love with Maria, but instead like loved Maria like a daughter, and he lost his child and then yearned for a surrogate, how great would that be? Like the parallel, the allegory there. Anyway, we actually do get to interact with those people, and I really enjoy it. And it's one of the like notable, along with the enemies actually like talking to you, even if they're just saying like, go away, this is your fault. It adds so much, and it makes the story. It doesn't take anything away. Like, in Dark Souls, you don't want to talk to like a city full of NPCs, right? And you don't do that in Bloodborne, but like there is much more dialogue, and I think it only makes it better. Like I wouldn't want all of the story presented to me in a typical Ludo narrative fashion or whatever. I don't want that. I do want them to keep doing this like peeking through a door and just getting enough to put a picture together yourself. I want them to keep doing that, but I definitely feel like this game and Sekiro both, where you actually get to talk to people who have been around long enough that they can sort of give you hints and clues about stuff. I think that's great. I think it's great. Anyway, that was the Orphan of Kos. We'll see the other thing. Every great one loses its child and then yearns for a surrogate, and Udin, the formless great one, is no different. To think it was corrupted blood that began this eldritch liaison. What if the reason they can't have kids is because they're cursed, and they're cursed because of Yharnam? Queen Yharnam. Because they took her kid from her. Liaison, by the way, chat. Liaison, by the way, has multiple definitions, and this is a thing that you will find in Bloodborne over and over and over again. Everything has... They use these weird words, but they make sure to use a weird word that has two meanings, and, like, both meanings carry the same weight, which is hilarious. Liaison, communication or cooperation, which facilitates a close working relationship between people or organizations. A person who acts as a link to assist communication or cooperation between groups of people. A sexual relationship, especially one that is secret and involves unfaithfulness to a partner. That's all Liaison 1 definition. Liaison 2 definition. The binding or thickening agent. The binding or thickening agent of a sauce often based on egg yolks. I swear to God, this game's incredible. Udin originally had a kid with Queen Yharnam, who was a Thumerian queen. But obviously that didn't work out. We find Queen Yharnam pregnant in the Chalice dungeons, and she's been bound, and she's using her blood as a weapon to try and keep us away from her baby, who is also trying to keep us away from her. And then we get the Yharnam Stone if we defeat her, which is a fossilized ectopic pregnancy, basically. So she didn't get to keep her kid. Something obviously messed with her. And the idea that all of the great ones, like, can't have kids. Like, the fact that the earliest we can trace any of this wacky god shit back to is the Chalice dungeons. That's pretty wild. That's our contract. That's our contract with the Moon Presence. Is to kill Mergo. Maybe the Moon Presence is just trying to end the curse of Queen Yharnam, that the Great Ones will inevitably lose their child. Maybe. But the Moon Presence seems to want to take us as a child. Or rather, it just wants to have one. It just... No. Okay, I'm going to disagree with you on this. Maybe, but the Moon Presence... Maybe that's what the Moon Presence wants. But that's different from... Okay, so I don't disagree with you. I'm just talking to myself. If that's what the Moon Presence wants, if that's what happens, if killing Mergo appeases Queen Yharnam, and she no longer can... And yes, you're right. I think you're right. Because when we kill Mergo's wet nurse, the baby stops crying, and then Yharnam is like, alright, cool. And she leaves. She, like, bows to us, and then she leaves. But having a hunter... Okay, so I was getting caught up on the idea of having a hunter in the dream, but that would be unrelated. It just needs a hunter in the dream to help guide new hunters that it signs up for contracts. That's unrelated to being a surrogate. It just needs somebody in Gehrman's spot. So yeah, no, that's good. That's good. That's really good. That's really, really good. So at this point, We've got everything, all the bosses out of the way, except a few. This is something that people ask about. Anytime you start talking about lore, everybody's like, why is there a blood vial in the nightmare? I have no idea. I have no idea. This area is called a lunarium. Now, a solarium is a real thing that people have in their houses, and a solarium is a place where it's just a room to chill out with the sun. It's a solarium. A lunarium is typically a device. It can be a room, but it's a device that tracks the phases of the moon and where the moon's at and stuff like that. I think they went with lunarium in this case because it is sort of like a solarium but with the moon. I don't see how this would allow you to track the moon from this room, but maybe, you know, I mean, I guess you could. It's open to allow that to happen. So, Mergo's wet nurse. A wet nurse is a person who breastfeeds another's child. It literally means that you're like a nurse to another person's child. It has like, it can mean like you're babysitting, but like it's like you're looking after somebody who's helpless, you know. But I definitely think that Mergo's wet nurse sort of implies that this entity has taken care of Mergo. Unfortunately, the shadows of Yharnam whomped Yharnam outside here, so we're not going to get a chance to see. But Queen Yharnam, after you defeat Mergo's wet nurse, Queen Yharnam gives you a little bow and then disappears. Which goes along very well with the idea that the Moon Presence wants us to do this. The Moon Presence wants us to do this to break this curse that Queen Yharnam has over the Great Ones, where they're just not allowed to have kids, because she's not allowed to have her kid. So this wet nurse, not a friendly entity. What's interesting about the wet nurse is that it's so its weapons are obviously siderite, which is the Blades of Mercy, and Gehrman's scythe, the Burial Blade, are both made of siderite, and this enemy is actually missing some of its blades, which is a nice little touch. And there you see two of the hands unarmed. Now, for the most part, we can just kind of stick behind this thing and bully it pretty good. Ooh, that was bad. The big uppercut is dangerous, but punishable. Ooh! Just kind of dodged the wrong way. You can stagger the wet nurse, and if you do, you can actually... dang it. You can stagger the wet nurse, and if you do, you can actually stop it from going into phase 2, which I shouldn't even try to do that. I shouldn't do that. We should let it do its phase 2. Just know that if you do stagger the wet nurse, you can keep her from going into phase 2. Which on a challenge run, you know, if you're just trying to get through it, this boss isn't that difficult. But like, you know, if you're having trouble with it for some reason, that's an option that you have. If you can stagger her, you can skip over phase 2. I also want to say this. People are always like, if you use the lamp, if you use Mergo's music box, it freaks her out. I would like to point out again that I don't think that that's accurate. Just that the music box is coded as if it's an attack, and so she's responding appropriately. I don't think there's anything lore-wise to take from that. Her AI is just responding to you using an item, which it interprets as an attack, like a Molotov. You know what I'm saying? She would have the same reaction to you throwing a Molotov cocktail. What? One last, like, general gameplay tip that I will give at the end of this playthrough is a lot of times when you're fleeing from an enemy, you're actually running. I would encourage you to not run when you don't have to, because if you get hit while you're running, you're gonna take counter damage, instability damage, whatever you want to call it. And so a lot of times you get one-shot by stuff because of that instability damage that you wouldn't really get one-shot by. Whoa, I missed. Alright, she's not phase 2-ing us. Oh, now she is. Ah, that was a fucking perfect example. Like, running from that and getting hit and taking the counter damage, like, that's not worth. The music box is coded like a little AoE explosion, yeah. Which is why the music box does stuff. It breaks furniture. It breaks furniture. There's a big bell in the Chalice dungeons. There's a big bell in the Chalice dungeon, and the bell can like ring the other bells. Stuff like that. It's like essentially, like, they had to code it in some way to where when it went off, Gascoigne would respond to it. And so what they did was they made it like a little AoE. It just doesn't do any damage. Fuck me. Jesus Christ. But yeah. Oh, at least I could illustrate that point. Like, her response to the music box is just her response to any item that you try and hit her with. She just dodges it. I see, like, on like, Fextra and Wikipedia pages and stuff, they're like, did you know that if you do the music box? But anything that's coded to respond to, like, a malignant item... will respond that way. She's 3 kids in a trench coat. YOLO fight 2 orphans. I kind of, or not orphans, wet nurses. Not that attack. Uh-oh. Get out of here. Go on, get. Woo! Ah! How you like me now? It's cool. It's cool that the baby goes from crying to just breathing, and then that stops. A great relic, also known as the Cord of the Eye. Every infant Great One has this precursor to the umbilical cord. Every Great One loses its child, and then yearns for a surrogate. This cord granted Mensis audience with Mergo, but resulted in the stillbirth of their brains. Used to gain insight, and, so they say, eyes on the inside, although no one remembers what that truly entails. What does it mean to have your brain stillbirth? I suspect it's a reference to how the brain of Mensis ended up. They did become a great one, but they did become a great one, but they didn't become a good one. Boo! Boo! Why are you booing me? I'm right! Rizio, thank you for the bits. Much appreciated. Try and put this fire out. You guys like this song? Well, alright. Don't gotta be jerks about it. That's the wet nurse down, chat. Where are trophies? Do I have to go here? Oh, there we go. That was easy. Defeat Great One, Mergo's wet nurse. There you go.